Hey everybody, welcome back to the fish room and thanks for stopping by. It has been a while since we've done a proper tour, so I thought, hey, let's give it a go. I want to take you around the basement here and go over each setup, each tank, and talk through the fish, talk through the tank itself. I really want to just catch you guys up on what we have going on down here. So we have a lot of tanks to cover, so we'll be quick on each. Let's start with one of my favorites, the 650-gallon monster aquarium. And this is a good one to start with, I think, because all the fish are out and about. Even Samson here. Samson is our 34-inch fire eel. And he is one of my favorite fish. He's more of a wet pet, right? He's one of the few fish I've named. And he's a beast. So this is another fish that I've named. This is Bert. This is a giant albino gourami. He is probably 18, 19 inches long right now, so he's pretty beefy. He's still got some growing to do though. And we also have Gert, his girlfriend. She's, being a female, she's a little smaller. We have some really cool cichlids in here, some green chromides. We have some cool larger community fish like silver dollars and bala sharks. This is a really nice tank. It measures about 9 feet long, 4 feet front to back, and about 2.5 feet tall. Actually a little over that, really. It's closer to a little under 3 feet tall. It's a great tank. It is one of my first plywood builds, so it's a little rough around the edges. But it has stood the test of time. We have a lot of tanks to cover though, so let's move on. Let's go left to right. So this is one of my racks of 125-gallon aquariums. Let's start with the top. These are a beautiful haplochromine from Lake Malawi in Eastern Africa. These are the Mylochromis anaphermis. Beautiful fish. I love them. We got some females in here, right there. And we also have some Buna in the tank with them. This, if you believe it, this is a Libidochromis caeruleus. Now, some of you guys might be saying, no way. Libidochromis caeruleus are yellow labs. Yellow labs are these fish. Zoom over here. That's what you're talking about, Evan, right? Well, yes. But those are the exact same species as these guys. They're just from a different collection point. So really cool. They're like this blue, dark blue with light blue stripes, or vice versa, right? Really cool fish. Even the females are colorful. They're more like a light blue with that black stripe through the dorsal. Really beautiful fish. Got them here in a 125. I love it. Down below, more Malawian cichlids. Those of you who are new to the channel, Malawian cichlids are kind of my jam. I really love them. Those Malawian cichlids and cichlids from Madagascar. So those are kind of my two focuses. So you might notice that as we go through here. But these are some really cool fish. These are juveniles, so they're not going to be super colorful. Let's start with the Exochromis anagenus. Sometimes commonly known as the 3-spot torpedo. We got some young, I'm gonna say juveniles, but they're borderline young adults because some of them are starting to show the blue faces characteristic of males. Like that guy right there, that's a male. That one starting to show some male coloration. The females stay this still a very pretty yellow with those spots. Very pretty fish, gets pretty big, about 9 inches or so. That's gonna be a good male. The other cichlid we have in here is the Taeniolethronops praeorbitalis. And I don't think there's a common name for them because they're not a very common fish. Pretty rare actually. Now these are juveniles still. They're not showing any of their adult coloration. They get to be pretty big, 10 inches or so for the males. And the males get this, I'd say greenish blue color. It's one of the few Malawian cichlids that have green bodies. And it's mixed in with the blues, of course, to be sure. But it's a very pretty fish, and I'm excited to share it with you when they get older. But till then, let's keep moving on. We got lots of tanks here, guys. So many tanks for activities. This is my rack of 75s. These are the last remaining 75 gallons in the fish room. I used to have more, if you're familiar with the channel. I've actually been kind of downsizing in number, but upsizing in size. So I've been doing like a whole fewer but bigger kind of approach to the hobby lately. Let's start down here. I'm pretty happy with these fish. They're juveniles still, but I think I'm gonna say I made these. And what I mean by that is this is an albino version, maybe leucistic. I'm not really a geneticist, but either leucistic or albino version of the blue neon peacock, the Alonocara Stewart Grantai. And the non-albino version looks incredibly different from these fish. You would not think they're the same fish, but they are. Several years ago, I bred the blue neons. They spit out like, of one of their batches of about 80 fry, about 5 of them were albino. I raised those fish up, bred them, and I think they're looking really, these offspring are looking really cool. I'll actually show you the breeder parents in one of the bigger tanks. So I'm just waiting for these guys to get some size on them, and we'll see what they look like. Up top, we have a fish most people probably have never heard of. This is a cichlid from North Africa. This is actually found in the deserts of Eritrea. There's very hot springs and a few, oasis type lakes and creeks or rivers, sparsely, right, in these desert regions. But these guys are near the Red Sea and Egypt. So North Africa, and it's an undescribed species. But for now, they're called Danakillia shukarae. That is sort of the placeholder name until they're scientifically described properly. And these guys, super interesting fish. Here's the male. Really cool, like a green body, like a lime green body with the blue outline on the fins. Very cool looking fish. The females, like many other cichlids, the females are pretty drab in color, but still very cool. What I love about this species is how active they are. Like many hot water species. Oh, and these guys like it hot, 85 minimum, because they're from very hot areas. But like many hot water species, they're very active. They never stop swimming back and forth. All right, on to the newest setup we have. And if you're a friend of the channel, you may have seen this recently. We had put out a video on this recently. This is our newest tank. This is a 300 gallon that I built myself. It's an acrylic tank measuring 8 feet long and a little over 2 feet front to back and a little over 2 feet tall. So really cool tank. Now this is home to some of my prized cichlids of Madagascar. These are the pinstripe dambas. Oh man, look at these. These things are beautiful. This is a critically endangered fish. And big news actually in the fish room here. These guys were breeding just yesterday. For the first time, I saw these fish breeding. And I don't think it was their first try, so I don't think they did it very successfully. They don't seem to be tending the eggs anymore. But hey, it's a great sign of future activities to come. Hopefully I can breed these guys and distribute some of the offspring because the species needs our help. And they get pretty big. So this tank probably won't be their forever home, but it will be good for them for a while. We also have some denison barbs and another Madagascan cichlid that I love, the starry night cichlid. And I have 6 of them in here. 3 males and 3 females, and I'm gonna select down to a breeding pair as they grow older. Now this, there's a lot of misinformation and debate out there about the scientific name of these fish. I think I'm gonna do a video about that someday. But for now, let's just call them starry nights. Beautiful fish, they also get really big. So I'm really happy with how this tank came out. All right, next one. This is another acrylic aquarium that I built for the fish room. This is a 125. I actually built it out of scrap acrylic cut off from the acrylic I bought for this build. So I kind of got these two tanks for sort of two tanks for the price of one, sort of. But this 125 houses my 8 albino threadfin acara, a stunning species. Look at the trailers on these guys. All right, the glare is going to be really bad if I get close. And that's because something really cool, we actually have these grow lights up here for these mangrove trees. These are actual trees, like the mangroves you'll find in tropical climates like Florida or Madagascar, you know, lots of tropical climates around the world. They can be grown in saltwater, brackish, but I'm growing these ones in freshwater. Certain species, in fact, the most common species in the hobby, grow very well in freshwater. So I have them, and they're doing very well, looking very lush, growing tall. Some of them are, others are lagging, but hey, they'll catch up. And in the tank itself, we have the threadfin acara, a stunning fish, absolutely beautiful. Look at those trailers. That guy's a beaut right there. Absolutely beautiful. All right, let's go to over here. This is a 280 acrylic. This is not one we built ourselves. It is fairly empty right now. We do have some fish in it. These are some more Madagascan cichlids. Not the prettiest ones, but definitely ones that I want to help you know, perpetuate the species, you know, do what little part I can, if even, you know, just in captivity. I have bigger plans for this aquarium, so this won't be as boring as it is long term. We're going to get some more fish in here, more active fish, and it will be a much more interesting tank to share with you in the future. Let's come back over here to another rack of 125-gallon aquariums. Down here, we have more Malawian cichlids. Now, this is a whole mess of juveniles that I bred myself and I'm growing up. Most of the fish in here are, they're all juveniles, but most of them are juvenile Buccochromis rhodesii, sometimes known as the yellow lepturus. These guys get massive. I had the adults, I bred them. I didn't have the best male to female ratio, so after I bred them, I rehomed the adults. So now I have this dream of a massive aquarium in the future with just dozens and dozens of adult Buccochromis rhodesii, you know, like in a good mix of males and females. It's sort of like a pipe dream aquarium of mine. It'll be in the future. It'd be a long time coming if it does happen, but I'm working towards it. Also in here we have juvenile blue dolphins, Certicara morii. You'll see the parents when we get to my big tank, my 600-gallon African cichlid aquarium. We also have some dragon bloods that I'm growing out, and there's some other cool hap species in there. But let's move up top. So this tank, I might need to get some B-roll footage in here because the fish are a little skittish. Here's a couple of them. These are more cichlids of Madagascar. I think what I'm gonna do is come back and get some B-roll when they're more out and about. Let's go on to this beautiful 200-gallon cube tank. So this aquarium is another DIY build here. It's a plywood tank with glass viewing panels. It's 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet. So it's a cube tank proper, 200 gallons. And what I really love about it, I was kind of experimenting here. I was kind of pushing the envelope. I have the glass an open edge right here. So with most plywood aquariums, like you see over here, you know, the glass is, it's just like a panel right in the front. And it's, you know, fully supported by, you know, wood bracing all around. But I thought, hey, that's not necessary, right? Because all glass aquariums don't have that. Like this is a glass tank I've made, and you know, it just has this corner, right? So I figured, hey, we could probably do that, right, in a corner tank. And hey, lo and behold, it works perfectly. I think it's a really cool aquarium. I love watching it. I walk around the room, you know, and I'm pretty proud of the rockscape I got in here. What we have in here are some more Malawian cichlids. We got some peacocks. So we got some lemon jakes. These are Alonocara Jacob Freibergii. I apologize if I butchered that name. But this is one of the collection variants of that species. The thing about Alonocara, the peacock cichlids in Lake Malawi, is there's like only a handful of distinct species, but there's, I would say, hundreds of color variations. They can look drastically different from one collection point to the other. And this is one of my favorite peacock cichlids. We also have some yellow labs in here. What you would, you know, the common yellow lab collected from Lion's Cove. And we have, let's see if we can find them. We have a cool hap in here growing out called the Stigmatochromis modestus. Here's one. If I can focus, they are like this deep blood red color, and that red will only intensify as they get older. And these have been, this is a patient man's fish. They are very slow growing. It's kind of hard to get good focus on them since they're so dark. But patient man's fish, maybe in, you know, 20 years, I'll be able to share with you some good footage of the adults. But yeah, this is a good tank that I really enjoy it. Next to it, we have a glass tank that I kind of built just to fit this little area, this little extra space. I'm using it just as a grow out tank for some Stigmatochromis melancros. Now I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you some B-roll footage of the adult breeders. All right, let's move on to, let's talk about our 600-gallon African cichlid tank. This is one of my favorites in the room. Man, you can tell why, right? It's huge. It's 9 feet long, 4 feet front to back, a little under 3 feet tall, very similar to our 650, just a couple inches shorter is all. It's a beautiful tank. I have some stunning adult specimens in here of large haplochromines. Let's look first. We got blue dolphins. That glare is terrible. Sorry, guys. We got some nice blue dolphins in here. Some albino blue dolphins, too. These are, let's say, young adults. The albinos, they're not full grown yet. We have, you know, some OB peacocks. We have, this is a cool fish, Stigmatochromis woody. Some of the biggest fish in here are these Malawi hawks, the Aristochromis christii. And when they get going, when one of the males is really showing dominant colors, that the blue that you see on the head there just illuminates across their entire body, and their fins get this like bright orange, especially the anal fin there. Really cool fish. Really interesting behavior too to witness in the aquarium. They get big, about a foot. I mean, all these fish get big. The only exception to that are the yellow labs, which these are Buna, right? They're much smaller. They're like 4 inches, maybe 5 inches tops. But they're in here with fish that are known to be Buna hunters. Like these Malawi hawks, they literally eat Buna for breakfast. But these guys are just so fast, and they're so good at hiding in all this rock work. I actually don't want them in here. I can't even catch them out. Like, it's impossible. These fish, they're beautiful, but they're almost like, I hate to say it, they're almost like pests in this aquarium. But they're pretty, so I'll deal with it. The adult of the albino blue neon. Here he is. This is the male. So the juveniles you saw in that 75-gallon earlier, this is what they'll look like when they grow up. He's in the shadows. Can I get him in the light? Let's get in the light, buddy. Go to the light. You can kind of see his color there. Yeah, there's a good shot. All right, so pretty fish. Moving on over here. Okay, this is another rack. On top, we have a 225-gallon glass aquarium. This is a tank that I also built. And underneath it, we have a 125. Let's start up here. Some more cichlids of Madagascar. These are beautiful fish. I think they're beautiful. I get it. They're not classically attractive aquarium fish. They don't have the bright colors that other fish do, but I think they're so cool. This is the Paratroplus damii. Now, when they get breeding, they turn like, their front half turns like a brick red, and they get this really cool like black band across their lower half. Really interesting fish. I have 6 in here. They've been painfully slow growing for me. Also, we have the Paratroplus maculatus. They look sort of similar to the pinstripe dombas that I showed you earlier, the Paratroplus minorambo, but they're a little more gray with that black splotch in the middle, but still very cool. We also have some, where are they? These guys aren't shown any color yet, but these guys are the Paratroplus dambabe. And when they become adults, they will have like this really cool splash of red across their sides. Not solid red, but like a splash, like someone just took a paintbrush and just like psh, across them. Really cool fish. So yeah, down below we have some more Malawians. We have dragon bloods in here, right? Dragon bloods, which yeah, they're a man-made hybrid, but hey, I like them. And Venustus, the giraffe cichlids. These guys are growing up, and long term, I'm going to select a nice male-female ratio, big group of each of these species, and they're going to come in here. And I might move out a couple fish to make space, but I guess to actually have a lot of space in here for more fish, believe it or not. So these guys are growing to supplement the 600, and I'm going to get, just a really nice group of them. I actually had the parents of these dragon bloods had already been in the 600, but I moved them out a while ago to grow up a group with a much better male to female ratio. Some of these Venustus are starting to show color. I feel like I just saw one flash by that had some good color on them. Maybe I imagined it. I don't know, did I imagine that? Who knows? I'm going crazy when it comes to fish. But that's about all I have for you today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this tour. I know I enjoy sharing it with you. If you like this, if you want to see more of these fish, or more about how I keep these aquariums, maybe some DIY stuff as well, please consider subscribing. Maybe hit that like button. It really lets me know if you're getting some value out of these things. But either way, thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time.